All right, all right. Just about ready to jump in with Sabri Suby. You guys are legendary. Thank you so much for staying in here and being a part of this with us. The amount of interaction and engagement that I've seen right here in the chat, it's so cool to see. It is so cool to see. What do you reckon, Sonia? We got you here. I'll just make sure you're unmuted. Unmuted?
I'm unmuted.
There you
Sabri,
go.
this is so exciting.
Yeah. Awesome. I cannot wait. So, Sabri Suby, I'll just unmute you too, brother. I'll bring you in. Guys, make sure you got your pad and your pen, all right? Sabri's going to be dropping bombs. If you haven't got his book yet, Sabri's going to share that with you. He'll give you a link to be able to grab that book. I've seen so many people on my Instagram tagging it and sharing it. It's blowing up. There's videos everywhere about it. And I see him all the time over YouTube. He's killing it right now. I can't wait for you guys to meet Sabri. So Sabri Suby, jump in, brother.
How we doing, my man?
Doing amazing, brother. Doing amazing. So, guys, if you're not familiar with Sabri Suby, he is here in Australia. Sabri blew up his social media branding marketing agency over a very short amount of time, something like 4 or 5 years. I'm pretty sure 5 years. And, Sabri connected with me a little while back, and we talked about his hustle in the early stages. And this is a guy that was making hundreds of phone calls a day, just sitting in like a little bedroom, just crushing on so much hustle. And he's done so well with marketing and branding that he's got some of the biggest companies and organizations in the Southern Hemisphere working with him now. And I just love the way that he shows up, not just in business, but also in life. So Sabri Suby, welcome to the Addicted to Success Online Summit. Thanks for jumping in.
Boom. No problems. Thanks for the intro.
Yeah, man. So let's talk real quick. Your book, Sell Like Crazy. Share maybe like 2 to 3 main core ideas or frameworks in that book that you believe people will be able to get just such a high level of value from right now if they're pivoting in their business, or they're looking at going online, or they're looking at scaling.
Sure. I think like a very clear thing that, a core pillar from the book is really just, first of all, how to find out what your market is absolutely starving for. I think there's so many people out there that are selling what is convenient for themselves to sell, and not what the market is extremely hungry for. So, I talk about in the book how to really dive into the mind of your dream buyer and kind of camp out there and get intel to really pump up your offers on steroids. And like, first of all, like a quick tip is this to check out a website called answerthepublic.com. And basically what that does is it aggregates all the search data and all the questions that everyone's asking in your market across Google and Bing and a bunch of other search engines. And it will actually, you can just download all of those questions in, an Excel file, and it will literally show you what are the questions that your market is asking. And what are the big questions that are keeping them up at night, tossing and turning, unable to sleep. And so whatever you might be like a digital marketing agency, you type in digital marketing, you might run Facebook ads, you type Facebook ads in there, you might be a wellness coach, you type in whatever it is around your market, and you're going to start to see all these questions popping up. And that's going to immediately show you what is it that your market wants. Then, that's just one little thing that you can do immediately. And then once you start finding those questions, then you start jumping onto Google, you start going to forums, you start going to YouTube, start reading the comments on Amazon books, you go to Reddit, and you have a look at like, what is it that your market is talking about? And then you make sure that you use this information in the next core pillar. And the next core pillar is, instead of going out there and trying to sell your products or services straight out the gate, you want to have, that's a one-step funnel, right? Where you're going straight for a call or straight for a sale. Instead, what you want to do is implement something that we just call a basic 2-step funnel. Like, forget about all these crazy Infusionsoft click funnel, 6-month campaigns. Just begin with a 2-step funnel, right? Meaning that you offer something of value on the first step. I call it a high value content offer. Some other people call it lead magnets, whatever you want to call it, where you offer something of value. And then on the second step is where you actually try to make a sale and you try to pitch for them. And you want to take all of that information that you gathered from all the questions that people are asking in your market. And remember, you're not guessing right? You're getting the data directly keyboard to you from what people are saying in your market. And then you create a high value content offer that answers those exact questions that your market is asking. And then that allows you to take your conversion rates from 1, 2, 5% up to 40% plus if you do it right, and really build an email list for free. Because once somebody downloads that, they're going to arrive on the next page where you're going to be making the pitch, and you're going to get what I call a percentage of those people that we call hyperactive buyers that are going to take you up on your offer anyway, right? They're the guys that were going to come to your landing page and convert at the 4 or 5%. So you're going to get them, plus you're going to get all those 40% plus people that downloaded your high value content offer for free. And that's where you can really start up a relationship and a dialogue. And that brings us to the next step. And that's really what I talk about, taking your prospects from Tinder to Netflix and chill. and really what that is it's about how do we get these ice cold prospects that absolutely know nothing about us. They've seen a Facebook ad, they've seen a Google ad, and they click through. Most people are rocking up to these people and they're making marriage proposals, or they're basically trying to take them back to their house before they do anything, right? It's like romance and seduction. And if you go the opposite way, where you're just going bang straight for the marriage proposal, which is what everybody's doing, it's almost impossible to make the unit economics stack up on that, i.e. to make that whole exercise profitable. So what we want to do is we want to look at marketing as in the same way that we would look at the relationship of, like, if you're going to a party and you're meeting people, you know, you might buy them a drink, you might have a conversation, you might go out for coffee, then it's a date. And it's like, what are those series of steps that come along with it, right? And that's how you need to look at your marketing. So we've gotten them to we know exactly what it is that they want. We've given them that to them for free, right? Then we've made like some kind of offer for a second date. And now is really when we want to start providing value to that person before ever asking for anything in return. And we want to do that through like an email sequence that I call the magic lantern technique. And that's really where you imagine your prospect where they are right now with all these questions, with all these problems that they're having, and think about, okay, where is it that this person wants to go? All right. And then you want to think, okay, this is where they are right now. Like, they're overweight, they've got low energy, they don't have much self-esteem. And then this is where they want to get. They want to get to a state where they've got lots of energy, they're really happy, they're feeling really good about themselves. And what are all the steps that need to happen in order to get them to that end result? And you want to slowly move them down that light by really delivering that value to them in advance and building a relationship with them, and then make your offer. So it's all about 80% value and 20% pitch. So like, hey, like, this is the thing that you really want. Let me just teach you about this. Like, it's just like your best friends coming over to your house. Let me just show you how this works. Let me tell you all the things that you need to know about this. And then you deliver value. And then at the end of that, you just say something simple along the lines of like, hey, if you like this, if you got value out of this, and you really want to get to this place a lot quicker, then what I've done is I've got this product, or I've scheduled some time on my calendar to have a chat and help you get to where you want to. And it's really just about serving your prospects as if they were already paying clients, right? And not waiting for money to change hands in order for that relationship to start. Because the way that I look at it is, someone's giving you their name and email address, or they're opting in for your webinar, or whatever it is, right? That is the first transaction that takes place. And the currency is their contact details. And you better not misuse that. You better not be like, you know, these spammy internet marketers that just hit you with the hard pitch and they're not delivering any value, because that just leaves that person with like, oh, that wasn't a very enjoyable experience. Like, I never want that to happen again. Like, they misused my trust. Why would I ever buy off this person? Because they're just trying to coerce me into doing something that's not best for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that you use the analogy of dating someone, because there's this, like I mentioned in the chat, there's like a neediness behind it. People with low value tend to kind of try and grab something too hard and too strong to try and keep it. There's like a control aspect to it because they want it so bad, and it kind of makes the other person want to push them away, right? So it's really good that you outline that. So guys, I want to also open the floor for some questions as well. So drop some questions in the chat around sales and marketing for Sabri. Sabri, I want to get you to take your mind back to that, years ago when you were sitting there making all these sales calls. But how many calls were you making a day?
150.
150 calls a day. And so you set the goal and then you just went for it. 150, 150. You didn't go to sleep, didn't end the day until you did 150.
Yeah, that was the program, man. I used to wake up 4 a.m., go for a run, do everything that I need to do with my morning routine. And then the time 8:30 came around, it was just like block out all the noise and just tear up the telephones. Most people, you either start a business kind of out of inspiration or desperation. And for me, it was the latter. And so it's like people like, how did you make 150 cold calls and just basically people cursing at you all day? It's like, you want to have the why so big that the how becomes easy, right? For me, 150 cold calls is nothing. Like I was looking at my wife and looking at the commitment that I'd made to her. And like, it's like, man, I'll call 1,000 people a day. Like, I don't give a fuck. Do you know what I mean? So 150 cold calls for me was really nothing because the why was so big. So even by lunchtime and like, you're basically getting told, to fuck off for a living. I don't know if I can swear on this thing, but I'm sorry. But basically, like I'm just getting abused. You get abused all day long on the telephone doing that. But if you know exactly why it is that you're doing and you have that goal so visceral in your mind, then those mechanics, it's not a difficult thing to do. It's difficult in the moment, but not when you stop for a moment and think about why you're doing it.
Right. Wow, dude. Awesome breakdown. Questions are flying in. So I'm trying to keep up with them. I was like, they're not asking any questions. Next thing, there's just like a flood of them coming through. All right, cool. So let's hammer through this because I really love this. And I love that you bring this value, man. So one of the questions is, okay, we'll skip past one of them because I know you're not big on. Someone asked about ClickFunnels. Do you use ClickFunnels? Or have you got your own setup?
Look, it's good. ClickFunnels is good in the beginning, but once you start to throw any volume at that thing, it breaks. So we typically test funnels with ClickFunnels, and like we test them and see how they go. And then as soon as we've found something that's like a winning appeal, then we just hard code the thing and make it really robust. But for most people with the volumes of traffic that they're generating, yeah, something like ClickFunnels will do the trick. Just don't use their email marketing automation.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, good stuff. And you want a personal edge to it as well. I think there can be a lot of these templates. You got to be careful of these templates and make sure you personally.
And one thing, right, is that people think that you get ClickFunnels and all your problems are solved. Like ClickFunnels is just the delivery. It's just the technology, right? It's not the actual words. The words is the most important thing of actually what you're going to say to people. And if you're using like the same, like what Joel said, you're using the same old like ClickFunnels templates as everybody else. The moment somebody arrives on that page, they're already jaded. They've already seen that font, that button color and everything. So, it needs to be different from the get-go. But it's, for me, I focus on the psychology and not the technology. I've had the ugliest pages in the world convert like crazy. It's because you could have, I use the analogy, it's like you could be at the end of a marathon, right? And you could just be handing out bottles of water and Gatorade. You're not going to have any problem getting rid of those things, right? But if you're like trying to sell like a 6-course banquet or like something like they just don't want at that stage, you're going to have a very difficult time no matter how good the pitch is.
Yeah, there you go. Wow, good stuff. Ryan asked, what's the core product that makes up the largest percentage of revenue that your agency offers? Good question.
I'd probably say that it's a difficult one to say. I'll say SEO, but it really depends because some clients scale really hard on paid traffic and then that works out to be a much bigger retainer. But if I had to boil it down to one thing, I'd probably say SEO.
Yeah. And for anyone that doesn't know what SEO is, it's search engine optimization, optimizing your website so that it ranks better in the search engines like Google and Bing. Beautiful stuff. All right. So Damien asked, how did you do 150 calls a day? What type of sales calls were they? And how did your day set up the structure of it? You talked about that. How also did you get rid of the fear of doubt? Obviously your why was driving you, but did did you have sales scripts? Did you practice some sales scripts, or did you just kind of like improvise along the way and just come from this just why driven confidence, or what was it?
Yeah. So basically, like, you know, when people hear like, oh, you know, 150 cold calls a day, like, how do you actually do that? It's physically impossible. How long does each call go for? Like, I've literally got like, you know, I've been doing like sales since I was 16 years old, and I've done over 1 million sales calls, right? And when people hear that, they try to do the math and go, oh, that doesn't really work. But what you don't understand is that when you make 150 cold calls a day, the majority of those people are telling you to get lost and they're hanging up, right? You're not having the opportunity to pitch people. If you make 150 cold calls, I would be very happy to do 10 really solid pitches and actually get through to the decision maker, right? So that's not very difficult to do, but the majority of the day is you getting hung up on, you trying to get through gatekeepers and just out there hustling. So the structure of my day is I would do an hour of power. So I'd basically block out everything, and I'd have all the people that I wanted to cold call on a spreadsheet, and I would just literally hammer the phones extremely hard for an hour. No breaks, no toilet breaks, nothing. And then after an hour of power, you have like a little bit of a 5 or 10 minute decompress, walk around, you know, get back in the zone, and then you're straight back at it. You know, for me, it wasn't something like brand new. It was like, oh, I've just started cold calling right now. Like I got my start at 16 years old, cold calling businesses, calling them up and buying back their empty ink cartridges, filling those ink cartridges up, and then selling them back to them. And I was making 600 cold calls a day in that gig, right? So that was like old school, holding the telephone. We were in a converted shipping container. There was 13 people crammed into this shipping container in Byron Bay in hot summer. It was a real life boiler room, and they used to give us call sheets on paper, and we wouldn't put the phone down because we would just be calling all day long, right? So I've had that, like, that was a cold, hard slap to the face for me. And then I've sold everything, you know, one-to-one, door-to-door, over the phone. So it's you basically get into the numbers. So just say that you do an hour of power, and you know, okay, this is how many calls I'm going to make this hour. And then, you know, okay, for, you know, every 10 dials that I do, I'm going to get to speak to one person. And if I get to speak to that person, I have to speak to 3 people in order to get a proposal out. So you just start to know those numbers, and you know, okay, cool, I'm going to do 150 cold calls today. I'll get to pitch, you know, anywhere between 10 to 12 people, and I'll get out 3 to 5 proposals today. Right? And you just know, and then out of those, okay, I'm going to close 1 client. So you begin to know, okay, this is how many dials in order to get a proposal, and this is how many proposals I need to send out in order to really get a client. And, you know, then you form what that sales scripts look like over time. When I started, it's like, you know, you're just kind of winging it, flying by the seam of your pants. And then you keep on listening to all of your calls, you record all of your phone calls. And then you go, oh, like, when I say that, I lost that person. So next call, I'm not going to say that again. And you keep on iterating and iterating and iterating until you get something that's like a sharp samurai sword that really works.
Wow, brother, I love it. I love it. Yeah, there's patterns, right? You start picking up on the patterns and go, that's a winning pattern or that's a losing pattern. Exactly.
100%.
Cool, man. All right. So Heidi asked, what do you think the best high value free opt-in is that converts better than anything else? And this is obviously coming from your own experience. And with your value, nurture, follow emails, how many do you use?
Yeah, sure. So yeah, that's all good. I'm more than happy to share. The single best high value content offer that will give you the lowest cost per lead by anything. I don't care what you're using, chatbots, webinars. I don't care what it is. I've rolled out thousands of funnels in 416 different industries, generated $1.33 billion in sales. I know this shit cold, and it is just a basic free report. Nothing converts like one of those suckers. So like, it doesn't need to be anything crazy, a 5-page basic PDF that addresses the number one hair on fire problem that marketplace is having, and the thing that they want that keeps them tossing and turning at night in a vicious cold sweat because they have to get this thing solved. You put that on a page that's mocked up like a physical book, it will suck in leads like crazy. Then in terms of the follow-up process and what you really need to do there, You know, there's no set rule. It's not like there's a magic, like 23 emails is the trick. There's nothing like that. You know, in the beginning, you want to send an email a day. You're going to piss some people off, but they don't know you from Adam, right? So you've got to build a relationship. The market is so noisy. I like to start with an email a day for the first 7 to 10 days and then taper off to one every 2 days, one every 3 days once I've built a relationship with them. And that, as a typical rule, you need to have at least a 2-month funnel, right? You need to have a funnel that goes for at least for 2 months. And then once people get to the end of that 2-month funnel, and I'm not saying it's an email every day for 2 months, right? It might be an email every day for the first 10 days. Then you might go to one email every 2 to 3 days, then one every 5 days, one every week, right? And then once you've gone through that series, you're going to stick all of those people into like a bucket at the end of the funnel, and you're going to do a manual email broadcast every Tuesday at 10 a.m. It's the best day and the best time of the week to email.
Tuesday, 10 a.m. Do you think it's because Monday they've kind of got the stuff out of the way and then...
Yes.
Yeah, they're not too excited for the weekend.
Yeah, you want to test it in your market and see, but this is just like, you know, looking at all the research, that is the exact time and day that you want to send it out. Like, your prospect is a radically different person on a Monday morning at 10 a.m. than they are at 4 p.m. on a Friday. It's a different universe, right? So you have to fully understand, like, I literally think about my prospect and I think about what they've done on the weekend. Like, when they've arrived in the office on Monday morning, what is on their desk? What do they need to attend to? Right? What time do they finish? Then what do they do in the evening? And then Tuesday, right, at 10 a.m., they're just starting to get a little bit of the bearings, right? They're getting their feet. They've got most of those annoying things out of the way, and you've got their undivided attention.
Yeah. So I know some of you here that I actually coach, you guys block time to do sales calls. So maybe don't do sales calls on Monday anymore and move them to a Tuesday onwards instead. I like this. Beautiful stuff. Man, we've got so many awesome questions, and I'm so appreciative of you, bro. You're dropping so much knowledge here. So Stephanie Z, who's in my mastermind group, she's an accountability coach with Addcited2Success. She's absolutely crushing it as a coach. She's asked a question here. Thank you, Steph. She says, so when you're starting to scale and you are yet to have a team, what do you prioritize? For example, I have emails, but no funnel set up yet. Currently, I'm focused on adding massive value and delivering at present, but not much time for anything else. What's the best next step?
So I don't really fully understand the breadth of the question, but I'm going to answer to the best of my ability, because when you say adding massive value and that you've got email, I don't know if you've got a funnel or whatever it is, but I'll just tell you what to do, right? So basically what you want to do is you want to spend 80% of your time on revenue generating activities. Like, the only thing that you should be doing is asking people for money, like 80% of the time, right? You need to build the demand for what it is that you have that's so high that you can't service that demand. So for me, I was selling 8 hours a day and then I was fulfilling the work by night. So you really, like, you want to be a hunter by day and a farmer by night. You don't want, like, whenever you can go out there and transact with the marketplace, you need to be out there doing that. Like, forget everything else, because revenue and sales is the oxygen that fills the organism that is your business. And you won't ever have a team, you won't ever have an office if you don't figure out how to get that demand really right. So that's what you want to be spending all of your time on. And like, delivering the massive value part, like, you know, I'm big on product, right? Like, I spend a lot of time in developing the best product that is out there in the marketplace. And then I market it more aggressively than anybody else in that marketplace. So it's not like, you don't want to peddle some crap that's not really good. You want to build like a market killing product that just dominates the competition. And then you want to sell that thing way more aggressively than anyone out there in your marketplace. So whatever it is for you, you know, it's sales calls. I don't know what business that you're in, but all I ask of you is that you do an audit of your time. Right? I call this the King's audit, and it could be the Queen's audit. And you basically have a look at where your time is going, right? In every hour interval, and you allocate that time throughout the day. And then you just have a look at what are the revenue producing activities that you're doing. Okay. Everyone's heard of the 80-20 rule. What you want to do is the 80-20 rule on the 80-20 rule. And you basically get the 4% of activities that you do in your business that drive 64% of the revenue. And that's all that you want to focus on in the beginning.
Wow, dude. Whew. Steph, I hope you got some good value from that. I know a lot of people on here are also in a coaching business, speaking business, offering some sort of a service in some pretty hot buzzing industries right now. So this is good advice, man. Sina asked, what are good places to source those phone numbers? Because you said that you had a lot of phone numbers in your spreadsheet. So where'd you get them from?
Google. So basically, like what I was doing, I was calling people that were running Google ads and basically saying, hey, like you're running Google ads right now, but you don't appear anywhere in the organic listings. Like we can get you way more traffic for far cheaper. It's much high quality traffic, and basically pitching it that way. But there is no shortage of finding those that information out there, depending on what industry that you're in. If I started now, would I be cold calling again? No, I would be going through Facebook groups. I would be going, on LinkedIn groups and basically be like, you go to Facebook, right? And you have a look at what is that keyword that's driving most of the traffic for your industry. Just say it's wellness coaching and you go to Facebook and you type in wellness coaching. It's going to show you all the groups in your area. It's going to show groups with like 50,000 people in there. And it's going to show you how many active posts there are per day in that group. And what I suggest that you do is join those groups. You get a Chrome plugin called Loom, right? And when people ask a question in that group, you create a Loom video, you answer that question, you pretend like that person's already a paying client and you help them solve their problem. And you're like, yo, if you enjoyed this, like I saw your question in the Facebook group. I just want to make this quick video for you to help you solve this problem. You might be a copywriter and you start reviewing copy on their website. Hey, I've already just rewritten the headline on your page. I fixed up these bullets for you. And I've got some really good ideas how you can like triple the conversion rate that you guys probably have right now. If you're interested in that, more than happy to have a chat with you and talk about what that would look like. You can book in a call on my Calendly just here, right? If you do that to 10 to 15 people per day in a Facebook group, you will get at least 2 or 3 clients a week.
Whew, dude, so many great takeaways. I hope you guys are writing some of these strategies down and you're implementing them as we move through the week. Nana asks, what are some strategies to find a good market fit, to find what people are really looking for by developing a platform step by step, starting from MVP instead of developing the whole platform for a year and then starting to market it?
Yep.
I guess she's asking like, where do you go?
I know. Yeah, I know what she's asking. And this is basically like, that's what I did like with my book, right? It's like, everyone's like, oh, how did you become? So like I launched this and it became a #1 bestseller in 10 minutes, right? And like the way that I did that is by finding out exactly what it is that my market wanted, right? And like, so like, I'll give you the case that I used with my book, right? It's a great example. So I just went and looked at like, what are the top 100 best-selling business books over the last 12 months? What are the best over the last 5 years and the last 10 years? And then I got some guy in Pakistan to basically put all of the titles on those books in a spreadsheet. And then I started to look at those titles and I started to say, what did they have in common? Oh, they like 70% of the books all had how to in the sub headline. Oh, okay, cool. So my book needs to have how to, right? And then, so how to, right? How to get as many clients, customers, and sales as you can possibly handle. That's what I figured out my market wanted more than anything. They just wanted to find out how to get as many clients as they could, right? So you just give them exactly what they want. Then what I did is I came up with like 5 different like possible book titles. And I started running them in Facebook ads to see which one's got the highest click-through rate. And then I started using them on Google ads and I started checking that out. Then I took the 3 biggest winners from that test. And then I surveyed my huge email list and I got them to actually say, and then I started doing the sub headline of the book, right? And then I started to have a look at the imagery of the best-selling books. So you don't just create like a best-selling product by guess, right? You got to really have a look at what is already selling, what is already proven in your marketplace. Find out the best-selling products in your category. Go look at their Facebook ads. Buy every single one of those products, right? Go look at the reviews, go see what people are saying about it. And, you know, looking at people's reviews will tell you like how are they selling of something. If they've got lots of reviews, typically that's going to be a great selling product. Go listen to the podcasts, the videos of that person, and see if they talk about revenue numbers, see about they talk about products anywhere. And that will start to tell, okay, this is a winning appeal, right? And then you set up a small MVP of that product, right? And you see how it works. Like for me, I did a basic little PDF and started running a small bit of Facebook ads to see what the conversion rate was for people that want it. Okay, I got something here. Let me go spend a year now and go develop something I know is a proven winner, right? And that's the way that you do it.
Beautiful stuff. Man, I've got someone so eager to get their question to you. They even texted it to my phone. They're like trying to cut the queue. So Clint Sisto says or asks, on the funnels that you're running right now, do you have a process to identify whether to use videos or text sales letters to convert a specific market?
Yeah, like it's not one or the other. It's both, right? So like typically, like depending on where it is that you're going, like I really like text as a part of the email funnel because it doesn't, like if you look at, like, first of all, you look at the open rates, right? Let's just say that the average open rate is 18% and then the average click rate on an email is 1%. So if you want to get your sales message consumed, email has to be a huge part of it because way more people are going to read your emails than are ever going to click. So you need to do a lot of education and get really good at writing email copy in itself, because sending people to a webinar or a VSL or whatever that mechanism is that you're trying to send them to, the vast majority of people are not going to click through to that thing. And if that's the only thing that you're relying on as the thing that's going to move freight in your funnel, then you're going to have a really hard time. So like I typically write long form 600 word emails as a part of my funnel, and they do a lot of lifting in that funnel. And then, yeah, I'm sending them to a video sales letter. Yeah, I'm sending them to like a long form sales letter as well. But you know, my emails do a lot of that heavy lifting as well. So it's not just like, yeah, sales letters, that's just all you want to go with, right? Video sales letters do very well. That typically, as my rule of thumb, that's what I lean to more than anything, more than webinars, more than long form sales letters.
Okay, wonderful, man. Thank you so much for sharing that. Someone asked as well, Miles asked, do you have any sales scripts of some sort? Is there anything in your book, Sell Like Crazy, where there are at least guidelines or formulas on sales scripts?
Yeah. So if you basically go and get my book, as one of the upsells, you'll be offered my sales course where I give you my 8-figure sales script that I've personally used to generate, 8 figures, that we use in my own business to generate 7 figures a month over the phone with complete strangers. And I give you all the ninja tactics, the tips, the hacks, how you get people that are ghosting you to pick up your telephones, how to like sneak in and find out what they're doing. All of that kind of ninja shit of how to sell in the 21st century is a part of that funnel. Again, you have to customize it to your business and what's relevant, but yes, there is there. And I do go in the book itself, I do run you through a kind of a loose script, but not a word for word.
Beautiful. Masad asked how to rock the call. Give us some tips. So like, do you get yourself into state? Do you visualize before you do sales calls?
All of that stuff. So like you got to get into like level 10 peak energy, right? So like when I say you do an hour of power, like that involves you like breathing, getting into the zone, picturing a really good call, and bringing so much flavor and pizzazz to that call where it's just like, there's like, man, this dude, like I got to give this guy some props. Do you know what I mean? And you can feel it when there's that person on there that does that. And really the best key, like for me, like I really, really sucked at sales in my first gig. Like I got hired in like a group, and I was the runt of the litter of that group. And I was definitely like the shittest person, and they were going to fire me. And the founder of that company, he's like, I see something in you. I'm going to give you a week, but if you don't get up to speed in a week, then like, I'm going to have to get rid of you. And like, I was like, oh, okay. Like I understood that. I couldn't believe he was going to even keep me on. He was a fantastic sales guy. And I just remember I went home that day and I was like, man, I'm going to crack this thing. Like, it was that moment of desperation for me where I had to make it work. And the thing that I changed, it was like a breakthrough immediately. I was like, man, these people don't care about me. Like, they're all telling me like to get lost. They don't care anything about me. I'm calling up, I'm telling them about the name of my company. All they care about is them, right? So how about I just make the whole sales call about them? And then like, I just started calling these people up and just being like, yeah, hey, like, you know, those empty ink cartridges that you're keeping in your recycle bin, I'm going to actually send a courier around. I'm going to give you $500 to pick them up. What? Yeah. So like, you can go over and tell your boss that you just basically made $500 today because I'm just going to buy your trash off you. So all I need is a serial number on the back of that ink cartridge. So you can just go ahead and grab that now. I'll wait it and we'll organize for the courier to come over, and also we'll organize to get that cash over to you. And it was just like, bang, immediately my sales just went through the roof. All I was doing is focusing on that prospect. So when you're getting on the call and when you want to rock it, just think about, where is this person and where is it that they want to go, right? Hey, I noticed that you guys are running some Google ads and I could see that the cost per click in your market is $6.50. I've got a way that I could triple your traffic in the next 90 days and it's going to cost you 1/3 of what you're spending. When can I get 10 minutes on your calendar to talk to you about how we can do that for you? Boom, right? It's all about them. It's all about the value that they're going to get. It's not like, my name is Sabri, I'm calling from this company, we're really fantastic, how about you take this call, right? You just go in there with a lot of energy, letting them know that you're the captain. You know, we always use that in my office. I look at me, I am the captain. And you're basically controlling the frame and you're bringing value to that person where they're just like, that's an irresistible offer. Like, and he's only asking for a 10-minute commitment on the calendar.
This is the psychology of marketing, bro. Right here. Like, you're understanding how humans think. It's human behavior.
100%. Marketing is applied psychology.
Yeah. Amen. Amen, man. And what I like as well, if you guys picked up on that, you were contrasting. So you mentioned time, you mentioned money, energy. Like, these are all the things that people are often looking for. If you can save them time, money, energy, they're in.
Yeah, and you have to hit on all those big core appeals to make sure that, you know, you're going to be respectful of their time. You're not calling like in some timid way, right? Where you're just like, oh, hey, like, I'm just wondering, I'm calling from this. Like, no. Like, you got to go, boom, come in with conviction. That's why you got to get into that state where it's just like, you do that 150 times a day and you start running through walls, right? To get to a no, to get to a yes, it doesn't really matter. And, you know, for me, it's like, I just kept on following up with people that I knew that I could help. And you become a pest in the beginning. They're just like, who is this person? They're annoying. And after like the 10th phone call, they start to respect you. They're like, man, look at this dude. Like, I wish my sales team was like this guy. He's so relentless. He never gives up. And it's like, you know, you start getting people's voicemails and I would just be like full on leaving 5-minute like voice messages for them. Like, hey, Joel, Sabri here again. I'm forming a fantastic relationship with your voicemail, my man. Haven't been able to catch you, but I'm still calling you because this is a really big problem. I see that you guys are literally lighting so much money on fire every month. I'm going to keep calling you because this is so important and I'm 100% committed to helping you solve this problem. So whatever you're doing on this Thursday, I hope you're having a great day, man. I will give you a call next Thursday. Ciao, brother. Bye. Right? They just start laughing. They start showing that voicemail to their friends and going, can you believe this dude? Like, this is the 15th voicemail this guy's left me in the last 3 months. Like, he is a madman. I've got to give him some time. And you come at it and they can't deny you.
Oh, dude, that is so gold. I did a similar thing to Tony Robbins. That's how I got him on my podcast. We actually laughed about it. We were in a movie together like about a year later and we're on set laughing about it. Because I literally set in my calendar once a month for 10 months straight. I had 10 goes until I finally got him. I reached out to every single person I could to the point where I'm like, I started actually quoting him and things that he said. And then I would like flip it back on like the value that we were delivering. And it got to a point where he's just like, let's do it.
Yeah, they can't deny you, man. It's like that persistence is really the key.
Yeah. Yeah. Love it, man. Love it. Oh, yeah. So Ayan asks, what do you think about the immense level of competition in this field, which I assume is like the marketing agency, social media agency, branding agency field? Everyone wants to get into this thing and
Yep.
start their agency. What are your
And
thoughts?
what was it? What was the question about that?
It's just like, what do you think about the immense level of competition in this field? Like, what do you think about, I guess, the opening of maybe starting your own, or is it getting too noisy? Like, what are your thoughts around that space?
Yeah, look, it's definitely like I look for markets that are like the waters are bloody with competition. I don't want to enter no markets that ain't competitive, right? There ain't no money in the markets that aren't competitive. So don't worry about that, right? Don't worry about the competition. The thing is, I don't know if you can see it, but this is like on my phone. You can barely see it, but let me see if I can get this thing popping up. Yeah. So you can barely see this, but this is basically the e-commerce penetration over the last 10 years and then the last 8 weeks. Okay. So e-commerce in the States, like as a total percentage of retail, was 16%. And in the last 8 weeks, it's gone up to 27%. Right. In Australia, there's 2 million small businesses. In America, I believe there's 60 million small businesses. You imagine the rate of people that are coming online, right? Over even just in the last 8 weeks, let alone what's happening in the next 2 years. There is impossible to service that demand. Right? There is no shortage of people out there that want to be going online. And when people say online marketing, it's like I laugh under my breath. Like, what else is there? Right? There is only online marketing right now, because even if you're marketing offline, if you're running billboards and television, what do those people do when they see those billboards and television ads? They Google you. And that you just push them online, right? It's all online. It's all about landing pages. It's all about everyone converges online, and it's going to happen more and more and more. If you're going to be operating in this space, because the barriers to entry are so low, you know, in Australia alone, there's 1,800 digital marketing agencies, and 85% of those are people that are operating in their pajamas, right? And they've like watched some YouTube videos and they don't really have the skills to pay the bills. And they're going out there and they're taking people on board. And unfortunately, they're not providing that person very good results or a very good service. So that builds up a lot of skepticism in the marketplace. And then you need to get really, really good at quietening that skepticism. And the thing that you want to focus on is just becoming a master, right? Just becoming an absolute master at your craft and letting your results speak for themselves. So it is going to be like crowded, but there's way more businesses coming online than anyone could service, right? And that's just the thing that you need to know. You need to see like where this whole thing is going, and you just need to make sure that you're focused on really getting your clients results.
Love it, man. It's like when you know that you're focused on the results, your confidence builds around that anyway. So then you don't have to worry about the competition.
Yep.
Love it. Love it. Jim asks a good question, a really good question here. I like this because it's going to bring it back to where a lot of people might be at right now here on this call. He says, when you started, did you tie your clients to contracts or just go month by month? Since you might not have had a proven portfolio.
Yeah, contracts, my man. You want to get that money coming in every month, right? And so like the other thing is when I started, like I only started with one service, and that one service was SEO, right? Like people were asking me, can you run Google ads? Can you build me landing pages? What about funnels? And no, I can't do any of that. I can get you on page 1 of Google better than anyone else there is, right? Because you really need that focus, right? It's like you need that force just to go through and just get it done. And the more that you try to throw on your plate and do everything, you just get far less results and you never get moving. So you just want to dial it in, one service, keep it really laser focused in and getting results really, really good. And because it's such an effort to convince somebody that they should do business with you, the last thing that you want to do is have to convince them of that every single month. Okay. So you want to basically get them on a situation, and everybody knows that good things take time, right? So you don't want to be signing people up for a month. Like what's going to happen in a month, right? You need to get a commitment from them. Need to get them bought in, because even if you're running paid traffic, it takes 90 days really to get that paid traffic dialed in. So realistically, you need a contract on there. You need that safety net. And it's just a commitment as well from the business owner that like, this is something that they're serious about solving, and it's not going to happen overnight, because with digital marketing, the biggest battle is managing your clients' expectations.
Yep. Solid points, man. Really solid points. Guys, we have literally about 15 minutes left. And Sabri, you're killing it. I love it. Are you guys getting some good value from this? Drop a yes down here. Damn, I feel like every single answer is like, write it down, write it down. Amazing, bro. I know the sun's going down behind you too, man. You're going into nighttime there. Thank you so much, man. So we had a question coming from Unbound Video Productions. I'm not sure who that is, but he asked, or she asked, what are your tips on scaling an agency from 5 figures to 6 figures a month? Okay. We're currently selling more than we can service. I had to put in a client stop to restructure, and I'm now spending more time in the business than working on the business.
Yep. Okay. That's going to be natural, right? You're at 5 figures. You're in the business, right? You're a slave to the business. As bad as that sounds, you are. That thing is the master of you right now, right? And you will not be able to get that thing into submission and for you to be the master of it until you at least get to 7 figures a year and you can hire a team to get you out of the business. But the thing that I don't want you doing is in the business, just literally doing the video production, right? The money is not in the doing. It's in the selling of the doing. Okay. Now that doesn't mean that you don't need to create world-class products. You definitely do. But how many people have world-class products that never sell? Most people, right? The number one reason that businesses fail is because they're undercapitalized. And the reason that they're undercapitalized is because they don't know how to sell their goods and services in large enough volumes with fat enough margins to sustain their business. So you need to make sure that you're able to sell that thing really effectively. And if you're saying that you're getting too many clients on, that you can't service that, then you need to go find people to service that. So then you can build the demand again. Until you can't service that, then you put another person on. Right? And then you get a team around you that are all bought into your vision that pulls you out of the doing and it puts you in the seat of selling the doing.
Dude, this is so much here, man. I'm looking at the comments too, and I'm just seeing like people like, oh my God, he's giving away all his secrets. They're loving it, man. Stephanie says, I got your letter in the post, Sabri. Unique sales technique these days. It caught my attention. Yeah.
The fishing is best where the fewest go, right? Everyone's all like worried about chatbots and stuff. Like, you know, I'm worried about getting people's attention by any means. And it's never relying on one thing. If you got that letter, I'm sure you got a text message from me, got a couple of emails, you know, video retargeting, Facebook ads, inboxes on Gmail ads, like all avenues, air, sea, land, we're coming at you, right? Because the attention is the new currency, and I got to get that attention. I got to get those eyeballs onto whatever that sales message is that I'm looking at delivering. But the thing for me is like, they're all the delivery vehicles, and I'm not like, I need to get my sales message on a delivery vehicle, but I'm focused on the actual message. That is what I obsess over. That is what like I've spent the last 10 years mastering, or really even the last 17 years, in really understanding human psychology, and looking at like, because I don't really care what the medium is. I advertise on all of them. Right? Because I'll go wherever my customers are, and I'll go wherever the fishing is the best. And then it's just about the same old principles. What does my market want? How can I use storytelling? How can I communicate with them in a way that resonates with them, that they can see that I am the real deal and I'm not some guru and I know my stuff, right? Because that's what it all starts with. People can sense people that are real. And if you're writing copy, that should literally like a hand coming out of the page and grab your prospect, right? And they can feel that, and they can see how genuine that you are and that your interest is to serve and to help those people. And then you're just trying to get that out in as many places as you possibly can. But don't let the technology hold you down and keep you in this state where you're constantly feeling overwhelmed of you don't know what to do and where to start and how to set up the tech, just get moving. Progress is better than perfection.
Yeah, great points, man. This kind of leads into the next question that I saw Leah McRae posted. She asked, do you have any tips of how we get out of the clutter at the moment? I understand value of the content, but I have heard so many people saying how exhausted they are by everyone trying to flood the market with everything. It's like they have content hangovers during this time. Dude, I can relate. I can seriously relate. Like feeling like you're always on social media, coming up with the next post you got to put up, the next video you need to do. I'm seeing so many people nodding right now. What about you, bro? What's your game plan with that?
Yeah. So like you're like, when we first spoke, like you were like, dude, like you're a content marketing machine. How do you get out all that stuff? Right. I spend 1 hour a week on content. 1 hour, that's it, right? So I've got a full-time videographer that obviously does a lot of the editing, but it's like, man, I'm busy running my business, dude. Like my content is documenting my life and documenting the climb. And all I'm doing is teaching people the things that I'm doing every single day, right? So for me, the thing that works the most is having dedicated times where I'm scheduling to do that stuff. So it might be like, okay, I'm going to shoot 1 hour a week with my video guy. I'm going to get him to go through YouTube comments and start to see what people want, right? And then I'm going to spend another half an hour a week just thinking about how can I help my market? What is it that they want? How can I get my prospect the results that they want, whether or not they ever give me $1? How can I help that person, right? So don't think of it like you need to constantly be doing Facebook lives and like that stuff will suck the life out of you, right? If you're constantly on social media doing that stuff. And if you're consuming and you're not just a producer, I consume very, very little on these platforms, right? I'm in and I'm out, right? I'm providing value and I'm bouncing. I'm not in there looking at everyone else's contents and any of that kind of stuff. Like I'm there to basically do my piece and bounce. But it's like death by 1,000 cuts and you're constantly checking into social media and seeing all the comments on all your stuff and doing all that stuff, then it is going to be a drain. And you're going to be like, man, this thing is annoying, right? But if you're like, okay, this is the dedicated time that I spend on social and then I'm out. I'm actually doing the main thing. Social media is not the main thing, right? The main thing is really becoming a master at your craft and being the best person in your industry and being able to provide more value than any other person in your market. And it's not the other way around. And people have, it's all flipped, right? Because like you have to get attention, but you have to have something worthy that once you get that attention, that you can flip it and turn it into money. And the only way that you're going to be able to do that is if you know your topic cold. You know every single nuance of everything that you need to know. And that's what you want to be focused on. So when you do put out content, it strikes like lightning because people can just tell like this girl or this guy is legit. They know their stuff. So focus most of your time on that, right? Like I'm sure anyone that's watched the Last Dance documentary series on the Bulls and Michael Jordan recently, like just look at Jordan, like look at all the stuff and everything that he got from all the deals with Nike, all the endorsements, the movies. Why did he get those things? Because he was the best, right? He was the best to ever do it. And he focused on his craft. He let the pain of failure sting so deep that he was never going to go to those places again. And he just focused, right? In the off season, he done the weights. He did everything that he needed to do to become a master. And that's really what you want to focus on is how can you be the Michael Jordan of your space?
Amen, brother. Amen. You know, I shared a quote the other day from Michael Jordan, and it's so good. I think you'll like this. He says, "Why would I be scared of missing a shot that I haven't taken yet?"
Yeah.
Like that mentality is so good. And that's what it is. Marketing, you definitely have to have that mindset, you know, because you don't know yet until you test. Would you say that branding and marketing, you spend probably 75 to 80% of the time just testing and taking risks?
100%. Like what we do as marketers, like in the reality of it, 95% of what you do as a marketer is going to fail, right? Listen to that. Okay. Like just think about that for a moment. Like you're going to send an email you're lucky to get a 20% open rate if you got a sizable list, right? So that's an 80% failure rate. Okay. Then out of those emails that open, 1% of people are going to click. All right. Bang. Immediately then you got another 99% failure rate. And then out of those people that click, how many people are going to convert and do what it is that you want them to do? So it's like, we as marketers, as business builders, we build businesses off the numbers of things, the majority of it failing and not doing what we need it to do, and just making that small finite numbers really count. So it all comes down to testing, iterating, and seeing what works.
Yep. Amazing. Sabri, Leah asked this question. I'm trying to keep up with your questions, guys, since you're going to have to get his book. Like, I know like most of these questions, or pretty much 99% of them, they're answered in the book for sure. The book's very extensive and got so many takeaways and practical steps. But Leah asked, what are the questions we should ask agencies that we want to hire to do this for us? Such a great question. I've had so many people that just don't work, and it's been such a waste of money because they sell so well up front and they start using template approaches that don't work for our brand. So once signed up with them, you can't get out of it easily. So what would you say?
I think that the first thing that you want to do is you want to have a look and make sure that that agency is doing the same thing to grow your business that they're trying to prescribe to you for their own business, right? And the reality of it is, like, I see all these digital marketing agencies talking about growing businesses with digital marketing, and they're not using digital marketing to grow their own digital marketing agency. It's like, come on now. So like, it's like, you want to look at people that are practitioners, that are actually doing the things that they're telling you what to do. Okay. Let me look at your funnel. Like, how much are you guys spend on Facebook ads? I see you're not running any Google ads. You don't rank on page 1 of Google. Like, why? Oh, like, we only do off word of mouth. Okay. So we should do word of mouth then, right? No, right? You need somebody that's actually going to do the thing that they're telling you to do. And everything that I do in my own agency is exactly like that I'm telling my clients to do, and what we're selling our clients is exactly what I am doing. That's exactly what I've done to grow my business from 0 to 20 million bucks a year. I'm doing the same thing, right, that I'm telling them to do. So everything is congruent with the actions and what I'm telling them to do. So that's the first sniff test, right? Just to see if this person is legit. And that's the major thing that you want to look out for. Like, and then you want to naturally look at, do they have expertise in just one industry, or do they have experience in a multitude of different industries? And how willing are they to split test things when things aren't working? Because it doesn't matter how good you are. Like, it is very rare just to hit it out the park straight out of the gate, right? If it was easy, everyone would be doing it, guys. It only takes a pulse and a credit card to get a Facebook ad up and running. So if it was as easy as that, then everyone's going to be like billionaires with 6-pack abs, but that ain't the reality. So you just got to be fully understanding that, like, I am going to need to put some money in harm's way. I'm going to need to light some money on fire to get the data. We call it buying the data in my agency. And you have to go in there knowing that, like, you're not going to hit it out the park. You got to put money in harm's way, and then you got to split test, and you got to find out what works. For me, if I run something and it works the first time, I'm like, oh, fuck. Like, there's no moat around this thing, right? Because anyone can do it. Like, I want to be the person that can withstand the hottest fires that I know that my competition won't be able to withstand. And so I really enjoy the adversity, and I really want it to be a difficult path to reach the summit. So I know that most of my competitors will stop and quit. So when I do arrive, it's so much sweeter. And I know that it's not just like another competitor can do this in 2 or 3 weeks. It's going to take time.
Oh my gosh, dude. Flames, brother. Flames. You're dropping flames all over this. I got one more question before we wrap up. Guys, you have to get this book. I don't know how many times I got to say it. You got to get this book. I'm going to share the links in a minute. We got this question here from Christina. Christina says, what advice can you give to fashion brands that are hanging on for dear life in this COVID situation right now? Lots of brands are forced to shut down. What can we do to survive?
Yeah, we've got a bunch of clients in the fashion industry, and like a lot of them have got physical brick and mortar shops, and then they've got online. But in terms of what I have seen in the fashion industry, is sales go up like 300, 600, 1200% across the board. I don't know if you're advertising right now. If you're not, you need to get on Facebook and Instagram pronto, right? Most of the clients that we're seeing in the fashion space right now are getting a 20 to a 30x ROAS on their ads just because people can't go out and shop right now, right? So that graph that I showed you before of e-commerce penetration, it has doubled in the last 8 weeks. So that's like so much more money flowing online, and a rising tide lifts all boats. So we're seeing across the board that those people are doing really well, but you have to get attention. You have to be out there, right? So depending on where you're at in your business, I'll make some assumptions. If you have a list of buyers, you want to upload that list of buyers onto Facebook. You want to run like a 1% lookalike, which is you give Facebook that email list of buyers and it will say, we'll go find a bunch of people that match these buyers, and you want to start running ads to those lookalikes, or you want to remarket to those customers. And then every single bit of money that you get from those ads, you want to pretend like it is not your money. You don't own that. That's in the marketing bank account. And all I want you to do is keep feeding that into the machine and get that feedback loop growing and growing and growing and growing, right? And that's basically what you need to do right now. You need to get out there. You know, people are online. The money hasn't stopped, okay, guys? So the same amount of money exists that it did 3 months ago. You just need to get it to flow to you. It may be a little bit harder to get it to flow to you, but it's still there. And there's a whole bunch of people. I'm in a very unique vantage point because I've got hundreds of clients in multiple industries, and I get to see who's doing well, who's not doing well. But I can tell you that the people that are retreating are not the people that are going to come out of this as a winner. You need to push. You need to expand in times of uncertainty, and leaders are built in these testing times. So depending on where you're at, what your finances look like, you know, as a bare minimum, just chuck $1,000 into Facebook as remarketing to your existing customers. Every little bit of money that you get from that, it goes back into the machine, and you keep on scaling it out and scaling it out.
Dude, this is amazing. You're basically teaching us about the long-term mindset, even in challenging times. And I think what happens, right, is, you know, we talked about this at the start. It's about who you are and what you bring to the table as you and how you develop as you. And I think in challenging times, it's quite easy to go, I'm going to quickly make this money to just survive or just for me. You're saying like, do it now to make sure you're nurturing your customers that really want it. So like, it doesn't matter whether it's now that you can support them in it or even long term, but they remember in those times you were still there. And it's keeping
100%.
that relevancy. Yeah,
you got to. And it's like, it's easy to run ads when everything's good, right? Like everyone can do that. Like you need to be able to stand up when it's uncertain, and you need to steer the ship in stormy seas. And like the last thing that you want to do is like just be paralyzed by the fear and just hope that this thing blows over, right? If it's meant to be, it's up to me. I got to go out there and I got to make something happen. I'm not waiting for something to change to me. I'm not going to be a victim. I need to go out there and I need to pivot. I need to change. I need to push. I need to scratch. I need to get in front of wherever my customers are, and I need to make this happen.
you hit the nail on the head about 1,000 times on this session. Thank you, brother. Really appreciate you, man. Guys, make sure you grab a copy of Sabri's book. I'm just going to drop the links in here for you. All right. He's got links for Australia, USA, UK, and Canada, and then a link for everywhere else. So you'll be able to access it from all locations. And I'll tell you what, I've read his book. Sabri featured in my mastermind and broke it down so well. And I'll tell you, there's a lot of books out there where they say, you know, build your business to the millions, and you know, this is how you market like a pro, and all these other things that they promise. I've read so many of those books. We've done so many breakdowns on so many of those books. They all start repeating themselves over and over again, and I think they're all copying each other and copy pasting from each other. There's nothing really new that's said. What I love about Sabri's book, Sell Like Crazy, is the fact that Sabri has tried, true, and tested things that he's put into his business, and he's seen before his very eyes with his clients that they've done, to then quite generously put it into his book for you to be able to do the same thing too. Like this is multi-million dollar advice in this book. And it's how much is it, Sabri? $19.95 or something like that?
Yeah, so it's $28 on Amazon. On that first link, it's free. I just ask you to pay for the shipping and handling. We'll send it out to those countries. And on the other one, to everywhere in the world, that's $6.95 for the ebook. And the only reason that it's not like the physical book everywhere else in the world is because we simply can't ship out to those countries right now. They're not allowing us to. But yeah, like it's all I can tell you is that like this thing is fat. It's not a sales pitch. I don't even pitch anything in this book. Like there's nothing for sale. And people are like, man, why don't you pitch people at the end? It's like, this is standalone value in itself to help you guys wherever you are, whatever else that you're doing. And I know that if you get value out of this, like I'm sending the elevator back down. And I know that, once you use this, I hope you get a lot of value, and maybe we do business together in the future. But if we don't, like, I'm more than happy just to hear how this thing helped you.
Well, that's it, man. You're teaching these guys so much that they blow their brands up. They're going to want to come and work with you. It's genius. That there is the pitch without you even knowing it's the pitch. I love it. Absolutely love it. All right, guys, we're going to wrap this up. We've had a very long day. Sabri, you're an absolute legend. Thank you, man. It's so good seeing some Aussies out there crushing it too, bro. Represent.
No problem.
The Aussie.
Thanks for having me on, brother. I hope everyone got some value out of it.
Of course they did. Thank you, dude. Guys, say your thanks to Sabri. Share your takeaways as well. There were so many in there. Have a good night, brother.
Hey guys, if you enjoyed this video, make sure that you click the like button and subscribe. We're dropping a video on YouTube every other day. And if you've got any questions about any of the content that I covered in this video, just basically leave a comment with hashtag heysabri in the comment section. And every week we're also trying to go through all those questions and get them answered. So go ahead, click subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.